Okay, so I'm staring at the setup here, and I was really trying to brainstorm, just like literally staring at it for about 20-30 minutes on how I can get it to do exactly what I want it to do in terms of the way that it looks and then also the function as well. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to build a little step straight up right here, if you can see that. So it's going to have to be like a steel or aluminum piece that comes straight up, which is then going to allow this contour, if you can see that right there, because this part here is straight, but this is going to be hard to translate to this part because it's just not, it's not right. You know, it's not perfectly level. So I'm going to have to build a piece like this, right? And it's going to have to come straight across, something like that, right? That way it can meet the Lexan up top here, and it can be a nice smooth transition down to this flat and then to the top deck here. That way it looks nice, you know, it's not all like, you know, bowed or anything. I hate when you see Lexan, it's all bowed and it's like, you know, it's just got like stress marks and everything. So I'm gonna try to do that. This might take a little bit longer, but I think in the long run, it's gonna come out the way exactly that I want it to. So it's worth it for me. Hey, not bad, right? Yeah, it came out pretty good. There's a couple small areas that I'm worried about, mainly right in this area here, just because, you know, the cardboard's not very sturdy. It's the same reason why I was telling you guys earlier why I got this stuff. So I think it's good though to make it once and then double it back and make it with this stuff. That way I know for a fact where the flaws are, and then I can also tighten up the little tolerances that I wasn't happy with in the first place. So do it once, cool. Do it second time, make it better. Third time should be pretty good. Fourth time out of metal, bam. Woo! This is dope. This is coming out real good. So this gap up here, that's just gonna be there for right now. I'm gonna have to actually add a piece on the back, where my fingers are showing up there, if you can see, to get the rest of it because I didn't have a sheet large enough. But one thing about all this stuff is the more that you do it, the better it comes out. This is version 4 of this car. Every time I finish something, I immediately think, oh man, I could have done this better on that project, or I could have changed this aspect to make it tailored to what I wanted out of it, performance-wise, aesthetics-wise, you know, maintenance-wise, or even reliability. So me doing this over and over again, you know, first out of just, you know, drawing it on the paper, and then finally going to the cardboard and actually making each little part of it, you know, and then eventually going to the whiteboard, which is the stuff down there, and remaking it again. That's my way of bettering myself to make sure that I meet my own expectations and to make this car come out the best way possible. I don't really like when I finish something and I'm not happy with it, or it's mediocre or just blendable, you know? And by blendable, I mean it's something that just blends in with everything else, doesn't really pop out. You know, I want people to look at this and say, oh my God, like who built that? You know, it's set up so well, you must have thought of everything. And that's what this repetition process does. It just completely eliminates the small little mistakes and things that you overlook when you're designing something from scratch on your own. Now that I know the driver's side fits, I'm gonna take that same piece and flip it, and then I'm just going to trace it onto this. That way I can use it for the passenger side. Alright, so this has been redone. I got the top part. I added an extra, I think it's a 10, 11, 12 millimeters in the front or in the middle because my cardboard wasn't long enough. I'm going to make this middle part next to redo it to make sure that it's real nice and tight on there. And now that these lines are straight, I can build this part a little bit better. So I'm looking forward to the end product. It's coming out a lot better than I had hoped. I was really worried, but as you can see, it's nice and tight. I got it all the way up into that corner, if you can see. That way I can put some stuff in there so it's 100% sealed. And getting there. I'm really happy. I'm bugging out on this. It's pretty dope. White's going to be the fuel cell. This is the firewall. More firewall, but this whole section is going to be Lexan. It is freezing in this garage. Got this nice little heater. Kind of helps a little bit. Okay, super long day. I had to stop and go handle some stuff down the hill in Corona. Go grab some materials from the sheet metal place. So I got a nice sheet of steel that I'm going to use for the firewall, the box section in the back there. And then I just got back to the garage and I'm filling in the tiny imperfections in the corners just to make sure that my template is as tight fitting as possible. I can always trim it a little bit, and yeah, it's going to take a little more patience to make sure that it fits like just right and make sure that it goes in between the space I have to work with. But I think that that tight finish is going to be a lot better finish overall and give me exactly what I want. So taking those extra steps, yeah, more time consuming, but I really want the car to showcase my ability, and you know, I want to be able to do the car justice. So yeah, so just going the extra mile. I took a few different pieces of paper and just like cut them to fit tiny little gaps, and this little section right up here, this right here is just that curve right there. It becomes, it starts from the outer edge, and then it has to work its way in because, you know, the Lexington's going to sit up flush against this part, but then it has to go under this lip right here. So it actually looks real smooth, but it's going to end up being pretty much like that with a little notch in it. So I wanted to make sure that I had that right on the template. That way my final template is going to be the one that I trace onto the actual Lexington piece. So I started removing the tape on the template and realized that there's all these tiny little indents on the factory floor, sheet metal. So 15 minutes later, I get tiny pieces of cardboard and just kind of tape them in this spot, and I'm actually going to use my ruler and measurements to make sure that I get it right on the dot. They're taped in place where they're supposed to be, so all I have to do is add the additional 3 to 5 millimeters in that spot, and then trace it once I get to the whiteboard. So this should work great. Alright, so again, the white sheet wasn't long enough, so I had to add this center section. It had to be perfectly straight, or as straight as a CAD or cardboard aided design could be. And that way I could get it all the way from one side of the car to the other side of the car. Alright. Looking okay. So now I'm just going to take this ruler and go over all the lines that aren't so straight. Alright, got the jams over there. And this is the template. So I just used the little X-Acto. Tried a couple different things, X-Acto, and then my normal little blade here. This thing works good, but you know, they tend to bite. You know, I don't know if it's something with the foam, but you can see right here on the edges, it digs in, even though it's real sharp. The blade could be brand new, but it just digs in, so I was having a little bit of trouble getting a nice clean cut, but that's not going to matter too much because I'll be using a bandsaw on the steel. But for this, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and test fit it, see how it fits, and show you guys what's up. All right, yeah. I'm pretty pumped on this. You can't really put it together while it's sitting here, but it fits really well. I'm going to trace that onto the metal sheet that I bought earlier today and take it down to Abel's shop tomorrow and use the bandsaw. That way I can cut out those pieces, test fit those on the actual car, and then have them welded together. Oh my god, it's freezing outside. 37 degrees outside. It's a little warmer in here, so, and I got that tiny little heater, so I'm still kind of dying. I don't like the cold. But anyways, here's the sheet I got. It's covered with a bunch of oil or some type of coating or something like that, just to prevent it from rusting probably or oxidizing. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some brake cleaner and some paper towels, clean it up, and then I'm going to put the template on it and trace it. Yeah. Just finished it up and we are good to go for cutting tomorrow. Pumped on it. Yes. Phoenix Industries and Radium. Oh, yes. So good. So good.